institution. It doesn't mean anything today. We live in a mental institution. 'Cause everything's crazy, crazy, crazy. They're doing away with borders. It's a new world. It's a new day. There is a new world order coming to your town. You better get ready. You better get ready. It's a new day. It's a new way. It's a new day. It's a new way.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Saturday night, and you are not going to believe what I got for you right here on Revolution Radio. Welcome to the new Samsel Report, coming to you live from beautiful Clearwater, Florida. The phone line is up. The number to call in is 727-474-1086. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. 727-474-1086. Because I would like to hear from you. Okay? All right. Okay. Boy, oh boy, I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, our government is a cesspool of corruption. Our industrial might is a thing of the past, and the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, well, they're being trashed by a treasonous, out of control government that is intent on enslaving the American people. Now, I know, it sounds just like some low budget horror movie. Sounds like something from right out of the Twilight Zone. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen? You know what? We live in the Twilight Zone. Okay? All right. And now it's time for an important message, especially for you listeners out there. Oh, yes, because this here program on Revolution Radio is listener supported. And that means you, ladies and gentlemen. If you like this network and if you like this program, then please send us money. Now, we don't want a whole lots of money, just whatever you can spare. But if you can come up with $100, boy, oh boy, look out, because you can wind up with how many? Wait a minute, how many? 35,000 seeds. Oh, yes. Ho, 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 ho. You heard right. So, because we need your contributions, ladies and gentlemen, to help to be able for us to keep the programming on this network that you have come to love so dearly. Okay? All right? Okay. Revolution Radio is number one, you know. Oh, yes. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. Okay? All right? Let me tell you something. You need this here network and others like it, especially now. Right? Right? Am I right? Okay. Revolution Radio is the voice of truth and freedom that you won't find anywhere else. So, there you go. There you have it. There you go. Send us some money. All right? Would you do that? Okay. I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, it is, oh boy, it is getting crazy out there. Oh yes, it is getting crazy out there. So I tell you what, later on in the program, we have a special guest. We have Clayton Douglas will be with us later on in the program. Okay, all right. So you don't want to miss that. All right, and I think next week we might have Outlaw Morgan back on the program, but that's not definite. So anyway, uh, I tell you what, let's get right down to these here headlines. Okay, all right. Are you ready for this? Okay, first of all, let's start off. Let's begin here, right here. Voter turnout for Trump smashes records. Oh, yes, indeed. While the media downplays Trump's popularity, record numbers show up to vote. Oh, yes. In fact, I went down to the county courthouse here in Clearwater and voted yesterday. Oh, yes, I did. Oh, ho, 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 you better believe it, baby. That, that's right. There was pretty many people there. There was people there. But I tell you, if you want to avoid long lines and dealing with traffic and parking and everything, then just mosey on down and vote early. Okay, all right. It says here early voting is smashing records everywhere. And if Donald Trump's packed rallies are any indication, we may be witnessing a historic win for liberty. Oh, yes, there you go. Fantastic. I'll take a dozen right here. There you go. All right. Number two. Number two here. Donald Trump will win the 2016 presidential election. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You heard right. That's right. With what with Hillary's recurrent email woes and her recent drop in the polls, which are already rigged in her favor, by the way, the establishment is pulling out all the stops in efforts to bring down Trump. The Democrats are pulling every dirty trick to try and steal the election from Trump. Oh, yes. You better believe it, baby. That's right. That's right. In fact, in fact, uh, there's a professor who predicted the last 5 elections says that Trump has an 87% chance of winning this election. That's right. Now this guy has accurately predicted the last 5 presidents. Right? 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 Professor Helmut Norpoth is confident that despite polls showing Hillary Clinton ahead, Trump has an 87% chance of winning the election. So there, put that in your pipe and smoke it. Okay? All right? Okay? But let us continue. Are you ready for this? Hillary supporter falls asleep during the Florida rally. That's right. There's a video on this. Of course, you can't see it. I can't play it. But this old guy's falling asleep, falling right. Oh, he's gonna fall out of his chair, right? Oh man, oh man. I just thought that was funny. That's all. Anyway, anyway. Uh, here's another one. Are you ready for this? A giant fly landed on Hillary's face. Again. Again, I say. That's right, because a great big fly landed on her face uh, during the debates, didn't it? Didn't it? Right? A great big fly. Well, they got a video now. Of course, I can't play it. You can't see it, but the video shows a great big giant horse fly that lands on Hillary's face. Oh yes. Oh yes. Hey, what is on Hillary Clinton's face that so many flies find attractive? See, that is the question. See, for the second time in less than a month, a giant fly landed on Hillary's face while she was speaking at a rally in Cedar Rapids. Okay. During the second presidential debate, another giant fly also landed on Clinton's face. But she tried to act like it was no big deal. Okay. This would lead one to wonder why so many flies are attracted to Hillary's face. Now, perhaps it's the tons of makeup that she plasters all over her face, or maybe it's her body odor. You know, I've seen several reports that suggest that Hillary Clinton smells like a sweaty buffalo. Oh yes, and her breath is atrocious. Her halitosis is atrocious. That's right. Flies like that sort of thing, you know. That's right. You know, dead animals, rotting trash, piles of manure of various kinds. These are all things that attract flies. See, especially when Hillary talks policy. See. Considering all the crap that comes out of Hillary's mouth, it's a wonder that she's not inundated by swarms of great, big, monstrous horse flies. They just don't swoop down and take and fly her away. Now, wouldn't that be nice? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, you are listening to the Samsel Report right here on Revolution Radio. Okay? So now we've had a little bit of fun. Now let's continue on. Okay? All right. Here's one you might find interesting. Racist social justice warriors terrorize owner of cat sanctuary. Okay? Oh, yes, you heard right. Oh, yes. Now, leftists bombard Blue Cat Cafe proprietor with death threats, vandalize her property, and send her images of dead cats. Oh, yes. Now, racist social justice warriors have launched a brutal intimidation campaign against a cat sanctuary that doubles as a cafe in Austin, Texas. Now, they're bombarding its owner with racial slurs and death threats while launching criminal attacks on her property. Why, you might ask yourself. You might say to yourself, hey, why? See? Well, let us delve into it, okay? All right? The Blue Cat Cafe in East Austin serves as a home to more than 200 cats that are adoptable through the Humane Society, a vital community service that cares for defenseless animals who would otherwise be on the streets or dead. Okay? Now, however, because the cafe is located on the site of a former Jumpolin Pinata store that went out of business. Social justice warriors have launched a violent crusade to frighten away the owner. All right? The owner said that she had received multiple death threats from protesters who opposed the demolition of the Jumpolin building. The vandalism and the mental anguish they've caused me and the cyberbullying they do is really out of control. Now, that's what the owner told the Austin American Statesman. They show up with megaphones and they yell profanities and they send me emails with pictures of dead cats. Okay? Why? 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 Okay, so, all right. So the neighborhood pinata store goes broke because nobody's buying pinatas and so they go out of business. Okay? The place is sold, it's torn down, and a new store gets built there, and of course the rent goes up, right? I mean, it's all brand new, right? Along comes the Blue Cat Cafe, right? And the Blue Cat moves in, and suddenly the owners come under attack. Death threats, dead cats, property damage. What do these people want? The old eyesore is gone, right? Right? Am I right? There's a new business, a useful and commendable service provided, but no. Oh, no. No. Would it be fair to assume that the property is located in a primarily black and Latino section of town? Huh? Huh? Would it be presumptive to assume that the Blue Cat owner is white? Huh? The group behind the intimidation campaign, Defend Our Hoods. That's right, Defend Our Hoods. That's the group behind the intimidation campaign. They have a Facebook page. And if you go there, they got racially disparaging remarks about the cafe owner. Oh, yes. They claim that she violently appropriated the land from the owners of the pinata store. Okay? All right? She violently appropriated the. Okay? All right? The campaign is backed by numerous other far left groups, including the Revolutionary Alliance of Trans People Against Capitalism. Do you want to hear that one again? The Revolutionary Alliance of Trans People Against Capitalism. And the Red Guards of Austin. Okay? The communist group. You know, they're into all that commie shit, right? Right? It's all about racism, ladies and gentlemen. See, if you're black, Hispanic, gay, straight, trans, whatever, okay, then it's okay to blame everything on racism. And it's okay to be openly racist against whitey, right? So that is my conclusion. That's the moral of this story, ladies and gentlemen. All right? Okay. My God, what is it, me or what? Huh? 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 727-474-1086. We have much more news. I was on the internet digging up all this news, and I came across a Michael Moore. Michael Moore. Oh, boy, what a piece of work. Michael Moore. And, you know, like, I can't stand the guy, you know. But, you know, I have to agree with him here because here, you know, I'm thinking to myself, what? Is this Michael Moore? Is this Michael Moore saying, talking like that? You know, I couldn't believe it, you know. So anyway, so I got it here. Uh, Michael Moore makes case for voting Trump. Okay? Voting for Trump will be the biggest FU in human history, and it will feel good. That's right. And this is coming from Michael Moore. Okay? All right? So check this out. Okay? Check this out. I see a lot of people in Michigan voting for Donald Trump. I can see that they're not racists and rednecks. They're actually really pretty decent people. I've spoken to many of them, and I wanted to write this about them. Donald Trump was speaking at a rally in Detroit. He stood there in front of the Ford Motors executives and he said to them, if you close these factories and move your production to Mexico, I'm going to slap a 35% tariff on those cars when you send them back, and nobody's going to buy them. Now, no politician had ever said anything like that to these executives, and it was music to the ears of the people of Michigan and Ohio and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. He's saying these things to people who are hurting, okay? And that's why every beaten down, nameless working stiff who used to be part of the forgotten middle class loves Trump. Right? He is the human Molotov cocktail that they've been waiting for. He is the human hand grenade that they can legally throw into the system that stole their lives from them. And this is coming from Michael Moore, okay? All right? Just so you know, okay. Now, come election day, although they've lost their job, although they've been foreclosed on by the bank, the car's been repoed, they haven't had a vacation in 5 years. Next came the divorce and the family's falling apart. They're stuck with Obamacare that isn't worth a crap. They've essentially lost everything they had except one thing. That one thing doesn't cost them a cent, but it is guaranteed them by the Constitution of the United States. And that one thing is the right to vote. Okay? They might be penniless, homeless. They might be screwed, blued, and tattooed. But on election day, their vote counts. They can walk into that voting booth and put a great big bloody freaking X in the box by the name of the man who has promised to upend and overturn the very system that has ruined their lives and their children's future. Donald J. Trump. Okay? All right? Again, this is Michael Moore's words. This is his. These are his words. Okay. All right. We continue. They see that the elites who have ruined America hate Trump. Corporate America hates Trump. Wall Street hates Trump. The career politicians hate Trump. The media hates Trump. The enemy of my enemy is who we should be voting for. On November 8th, you, Joe Blow, Betty Blow, Mary Blow, Billy Bob Blow, and all of the blows get to go and blow up the whole freaking system because it's your right. Trump's election is going to be the biggest FU ever recorded in human history, and it will feel good. So, there you have it. There you go. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The words of Michael Moore. All right. Okay. Whoa. Look out. Okay. I couldn't believe it. You know? Excuse me. Excuse me. Now let us continue on because we're going to get into some heavy stuff here. Okay, all right, okay. A nation wrecked by immigration. Do-gooding Swedes turn against migrants amid violence. Oh yes, you heard right. All hell's breaking loose over there in Sweden. Oh, yes, but of course, they ain't going to pay too much attention to that going on over here because we're paying too much attention to what's going on over here. Are you with me? Okay, all right. Sweden's open door policy has wrecked Europe's most liberal nation as the Swedes turn against migrants amid an unprecedented rise in violence and sex attacks. Sweden's murder rate has gone up 80% in the last 2 years. 80% in 2 years gone up. Okay? Huh? Rapes as well. In fact, it's much worse than the media is reporting about it. In some places, the streets look like war zones with burning cars and mayhem in the streets. Never mind that they're waving ISIS flags. Okay? Right? Well, now the Swedes are pushing back and defending themselves, which means that Sweden has deteriorated into civil war. And this is due to the lethal injection of Islam into Swedish culture. Oh, yes. Oh, you heard right. Any culture, anywhere in the world, you take a mass of people from the most war-torn and desolated shitholes in the world, who also, by the way, hate us and want to kill us all, and who believe in a sick, satanic religion that is diametrically opposed to Christianity. Bring them over here and sprinkle them out into the general population. And then sit back and watch the tension grow until all hell breaks loose. Okay? Are you paying attention, Hillary? No, I don't think so. No. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. You're listening to the Samsel Report right here on Revolution Radio. The number to call in 727-474-1086. Okay. All right. Okay, so let us continue. Let's move on. This is France starts clearing jungle migrant camp in Calais. Okay, so all right, we're right back to the refugee problem again. The French authorities are dismantling and clearing out what has come to be known as the jungle migrant camp in Calais, France. Why? Because of the crime and filth that has come to characterize that failed tent city. So, what about the displaced residents of that tent city eyesore? Why, they simply migrate to Paris, where the picturesque streets are no longer picturesque and thousands are camped out on the sidewalks that are now full of trash and human waste. Add to that the fact that the indigenous French population is becoming somewhat discontent with the entire situation. And you've got a brew that's about to boil over into civil war. That's right. Hey, Pierre, how's that globalist multiculturalism working out for y'all? Huh? Huh? How's it going there, baby? Look out. That's right. That's right. And I tell you what else. Sweden bans Christmas street lights to avoid offending Muslim migrants. Oh, yes. Oh, you heard right. Oh, man. Authorities claim it's for security reasons. Of course, it's for security reasons. That's why. You want to be secure, don't you? Huh? Huh? Well, towns across Sweden have banned Christmas streetlights in the name of security. But the real reason is almost certainly because the country has completely capitulated to Islam after importing countless Muslim migrants over the last 2 years. According to this report, the Swedish Transport Administration will not allow municipalities to erect Christmas streetlights on light poles that the authority manages, meaning that many towns will have no festival lights at all on major streets. Now, according to this report, the change is a victory for those who want to tone down the reminder of the country's Christian traditions. But according to the Swedish Transport Administration, the decision for the drastic change is security. Okay? No, we don't want to tone down reminders of the country's Christian traditions. Of course not. Of course not. So you can't have Christmas lights because it might offend the Muslims. No, do you think maybe Jesus, Mary, and Joseph might offend the Muslims too? So then nativity scenes could be cut, would be cut out of the question. Out of the question. Why some raghead could take one look at baby Jesus and go right out on a shooting spree. The sight of the Blessed Virgin Mary might incite Muslim men to gang rape white women. Well, I tell you what, members of the European Union are tripping all over themselves, all trying to outdo each other in pandering to the Islamic influences that they have imported, all at the expense of their own people. See? No traditional Swedish Christmas, because the Muslims might go nuts and start killing Christians, just like they do back home where they come from. where we're killing Christians and beheading priests and setting nuns on fire and then looting and burning down Christian churches. Well, it's no big deal. See? Now, I would think that the people of the European Union might have had their bellies full of the open borders and the refugees. And I think they're about ready to do something about it. Over here in the good old USA, one candidate loves open borders and promises to import millions more Muslim refugees, while at the same time embracing millions more of the illegal aliens. See? In other words, come one, come all. Right? And guess who's paying for it? Huh? Huh? We are gonna pay for it too, baby. We're gonna pay for it too. Big time. We're gonna pay for it in money, but with the Islamization of Western society. That's right. You know what that means? It means accommodation. It means accepting Sharia law. And if you don't, then you go crazy and start blowing people up and rioting in the streets. They take over the neighborhood and they set it on fire and they rape the women and children. See? So, you don't want that to happen, do you? See? So, no Jesus, no baby Jesus, no Christmas lights, no nativity scenes. See? None of that stuff, because we don't want to incite these people. So what the hell did you let them in here for in the first place? Huh? So that you can incite these people, right? So hide your Christmas lights, put away Jesus, put away Mary and Joseph, no nativity scenes, definitely no Christmas carols. Forget about it. No way. Get out of here. Instead, on Christmas Eve, pour a bottle of ketchup over your head. Okay? Just pour a bottle of ketchup over the top of your head before you go out in public, see? And that'll make the Muslims feel right at home. Okay? That'll make them feel better. All right? Oh my God, what is it, me? Is it me? Huh? Huh? And this one's really going to piss you off. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yes. Look out. Iraqi migrant's child rape conviction overturned after claiming the boy consented. Okay. All right. Okay. That's the headline. Here comes the story. A migrant refugee confessed to Austrian police, suggesting that he had a sexual emergency and claimed the boy consented. Okay. This guy, they didn't release his name, so we'll call him Amir. Amir confessed to the sexual assault, claiming that he acted because of a sexual emergency, as he hadn't had sex for 4 months. You know, I know personally, if I don't have sex for 4 months, I immediately want to go out and start killing people. You know. So I can understand where he's coming from. Right. The 20-year-old Iraqi refugee, identified as Amir, in court documents, came to Austria via the Balkans in 2015. He was taken to a public pool in Vienna in December as part of a program to integrate refugees into Austrian society. Once at the pool, Amir dragged the boy into a changing room, locked the door, and sexually assaulted him. Amir was arrested at the scene. And guess what? 6 months earlier, in June, Amir had been sentenced to 6 years in prison for rape and aggravated sexual abuse of a minor. That was 6 months earlier, right? Are you with me? Huh? Huh? So hold on here. Wait a minute. 6 months earlier, this guy was sentenced to 6 years in prison. So what was he doing walking around out in the streets? Huh? What was he doing in a program to integrate refugees? Huh? They put him on a bus and took him to the public pool. And what does he do? He rapes a 10-year-old boy. He says he couldn't help it. He had a sexual emergency. He says he couldn't tell from the boy's screams whether he liked it or not. Okay? And guess what else? Huh? Amir got off on this one because the judge wasn't sure that it was consensual or not. Okay? Can you believe that? Huh? Huh? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. A 10-year-old white boy is not likely to willfully consent to sodomy by some grotesque raghead. Okay? All right? That's just not going to happen. Okay? Unless, of course, there's something wrong with him in the first place. But, okay? All right? But, you could ask the kid, you could simply ask the kid, has nobody asked the kid? Huh? Huh? Did you consent to it or not? Huh? Huh? Hey, man, was that okay with you? You didn't encourage the guy, did you? You didn't wiggle your ass at him or nothing like that, huh? Huh? No? No? Well, this gentleman says you consented. Are you calling him a liar? He comes from a place where that sort of thing is an everyday occurrence. He hasn't been acclimated to the norms of our Western culture. See, we have to be more understanding. We have to be more accommodating. Son, your ass will heal. And you'll be able to sit down again. But in the meantime, it's time for us all to bend over and bare our bottoms, because here it comes, okay? Here it comes, baby. Here comes the humongous foreign object that's about to be rammed into the people's consciousness. Okay? All right? Just ask this particular 10-year-old boy. All right? He'll tell you all about it. Okay? All right? Man, oh man, oh man. Let us continue on, ladies and gentlemen, listening to the Samsel Report right here on Revolution Radio. Let's continue on with our next headline. Syrian refugee with 4 wives and 23 children claims £320,000 a year in benefits. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, man. It's the gravy train, baby. A Syrian refugee with 4 wives and 23 children has sparked outrage after it was claimed he was receiving a staggering £320,000 a year in benefits. The migrant, who fled Syria last year with his family, has since resettled in Germany with his 4 wives and 22 of his children. It was reported that the family is receiving more than $320,000 a year in benefits, according to the Employers Financial Association website. Now, there is no official confirmation from the government on this figure. Now, under Islamic tradition, the 49-year-old can have up to 4 wives, as long as he can support them financially, or as long as the checks keep coming in from Angela Merkel, right? Right? Am I right? 23 kids is really no big deal, right? Huh? Taxpayers can handle that, huh? Hey, Germany, how's all that going for you? Hey, how's all that going for you, baby? Huh? And laugh. Well, we better not laugh. We better stop laughing, because I tell you what, we're next. We are next over here, ladies and gentlemen. We are next. And if Hillary gets in there, oh, baby, you won't recognize the place in 4 years. I tell you what, you'll think you was living in Tel Aviv or Baghdad, or you think you was living in the Middle East, baby. And they're bringing it over here, okay? All right, so I'm a racist then, all right? So there you go. Hey, sorry. But let me tell you something. It is getting absolutely bananas out there, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? All right. So how about a little change of pace here? How about how about a little change of pace here? Self-driving truck made its first delivery, ladies and gentlemen. A tractor trailer full of beer drove itself down Colorado's I-25 last week with nobody behind the wheel. Now, Uber Technologies Incorporated and Anheuser-Busch teamed up on the delivery, which they said is the first time a self-driving truck had been used to make a commercial shipment. Oh boy, oh boy. The truck was full of beer, and when it got to where it was going, they found the driver had been drinking the freight and was passed out in the sleeper. Good thing the truck was driving. So we see here the beginning of the end for truck drivers. Okay? Just like the cowboys of the latter 1800s, technology has made the trucker a thing of the past. The truck will drive itself, okay? Next time you're driving down the road and a truck passes you, turn around and look and see if there's anybody driving the damn thing. If there is, then wave goodbye to the last of a dying breed. The American trucker. After all, that's what you call progress, isn't it? Boy, oh boy, oh boy. But it won't just be the truckers. Oh, no. Self-driving cars are very much in everybody's future. They're being tested on the roads in various parts of the country. You can tell the car, you can tell the car where you want to go, and it takes you there. Okay? Of course, you could say the American driver will one day be a thing of the past. So, put that in your pipe and smoke it. Okay? All right? Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Samsel Report, October 29, 2016, right here on Revolution Radio. We got a whole lot coming up in the next hour. We have a special guest in the next hour that is just going to captivate your mind. Okay? Clayton Douglas is with us, and we're going to get his views on this, that, and the other thing. Okay? So don't go away. Like I said, any moment now, any moment now, it's going to be time for us to go on our little break. Hello? Did somebody knock? Oh, okay. So anyway, we're going to be taking our. We're going to be going to our break here any moment now, but I have Clayton here in the program, and so stick around because you're not going to believe what we got for you.
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
Looking for a nightcap to fill your listening needs? Come join us on Spaced Out Radio with me, Dave Scott, right here on Revolution Radio. Monday through Friday for 3 hours a night, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, we will take you down the supernatural path. From ET contact to the paranormal and all of the spiritual, cryptid, and conspiracy stories in between. You can find us right here on Revolution Radio, at spacedoutradio.com, on Twitter at spacedoutradio, and on Facebook at Spaced Out Radio Show. Spaced Out Radio. It's a night of talk and interaction. Are you experienced?
Hello, my name is Mr. Rowe. I am the host of Reality Extraction on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. I utilize logic, intellect, and magic to methodically atomize, vivisect, analyze, examine, study, scrutinize, and extract an essence of reality from a fog of illusion and confusion. You can find me on Studio B every Thursday at 1700 hours Pacific Time. That's 8 p.m. Eastern. No topic taboo, no subject too strange. I strive to take a neutral standpoint during the dissection of the topic at hand. That's Reality Extraction with Mr. Rowe on Revolution Radio.
Enjoy your
extra big-ass fries.
You didn't give me no fries. I got an empty box.
Would you like another?
Extra big-ass fries.
I said I didn't get any.
Thank you. Your account has been charged. Your balance is 0. Please
What?
come back when you can afford to make
no,
a purchase.
No.
I'm sorry you're having
Come
trouble.
on. My kids
sorry
are
you're having
starving.
Thank you for tuning in to Revolution Radio. Here at Revolution Radio, we believe in freedom of ideas, freedom of speech, but above all, we believe in freedom of existence through self-reliance. This station is 100% listener-supported, and as a fundraising promotion, I have a kick-ass free gift for a $100 donation. 35,000 seeds. 25 years in the freezer. Long-term storable, 54 different varieties. So if food prices go crazy, the shit hits the fan, or if you just want to save tons of money every year by creating your own food like I do, grab our seed pack special. Just look for the banner on the homepage at freedomslips.com. Don't be a statistic. Don't be part of the problem. Be part of the solution. We need, as humans, to start taking care of ourselves and not depending on the megacorps to provide unhealthy, nasty food. Included in this package is also a DVD with 900 survival and off-grid living documents and the offline home canning, how to do everything website, all on the DVD. So when you're growing all that food, you know how to can it, store it, preserve it, etc. with all these documents. So thank you for tuning in to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. I hope that you will pick up this package and start learning to be free. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, where information never sleeps and freedom is one seed that needs to be planted.
What we do in life, it goes in eternity.
This is Barbara DeLong, host of Nightlight Radio, inviting you to join me on a cosmic journey, exploring a metaphysical montage of spiritual material, covering everything from the mundane to the magical, UFOs to unicorns, and everything in between, including spiritual readings for those who seek enlightenment. Let Nightlight provide you with equal measure of light, love and laughter, insight, wisdom, and inspiration. Monday nights, 10 to 12 p.m. Eastern, right here on Studio B, Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com.
Hang on.
Okay, they're shooting.
Hang on.
Okay, we're here.
Go ahead and shoot me.
Damn! Trying to.
Shoot me. Get on the ground.
Stay down, stay down. Stay down. Stay down. Stay down.
Shoot me. You have to shoot me.
Damn it. Are they shooting him? Did they shoot him? You assholes. Oh my God! Hold still. Stay down.
I can't
Is he dead? Don't get out. I am EMT! Stop it. No!
Are you hit?
No, EMT! Oh, hold on. Don't do anything. No shooting. Don't do anything. The door's shut. Where the hell is the boy? Down.
I can't see.
No! Shut up. Whoa! Shit.
I think they just
Keep
killed
down.
the boy.
Did they kill him?
None of us know the truth. The offense that was committed, it was committed against you. All of you. So if that makes you angry, do something about it. When Benjamin Franklin left Independence Hall just after the second drafting, he was approached by a woman on the street. The woman said, "Mr. Franklin, what manner of government have you bequeathed us?" And Franklin said, "A republic, madam. If you can keep it. The responsibility of a country is not in the hands of a privileged few. We are strong and we are free from tyranny as long as each one of us remembers his or her duty as a citizen. Whether it's to report a pothole at the top of your street or lies in a State of the Union address, speak out, ask those questions, demand that truth. Democracy is not a free ride, man. I'm here to tell you. But this is where we live. And if we do our job, this is where our children will live. God bless you.
Welcome to the last breaths of liberty in the United States and probably the world. Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, bringing you the news, the information, and as much truth as we can eke out.
Who are we? Where do we come from? Are you curious about the origins of the human race? Join me, Gavin McCall, and a variety of guests on Ancient Humans, where we decipher world events, explore scientific theories, personal stories, myths, mysteries, and lore about the history of the human race.
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and FreedomSlips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, FreedomSlips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. You're listening to the Samsel Report right here on Revolution Radio. And we have a special guest with us tonight. He is the creator of the Free American website. And he is the author of Mystery Babylon, New World Order Unveiled. And he is, of course, Mr. Clayton Douglas. How you doing, Mr. Douglas?
Well, I'm doing fine, Bill. Good to be with you here. You've been on my show many times.
Oh, yeah?
I appreciate being on yours.
Well, thank you. It's because you're so interesting. I mean, there is so much information that we can look forward to. So what have you been doing lately? What is your present activity?
Well, I've for the last 12 years, I've been doing my radio show. Mm-hmm. They tried to kill me 12 years ago, May 20th, 2004. I finally stepped on somebody's toes too hard when I referred to 9/11 as an exaggerated case of Jewish lightning. And
they didn't like that.
Beg your pardon?
They didn't like that, did they?
They didn't like that, and it was in March of 2004. I put building number 7 on the cover of pretty much my last nationally distributed Free American magazine.
Okay.
With Larry Silverstein's quote, "Yeah, we'd had so much loss of life. We made, me and the fire department made the decision to pull building number 7.
Right.
And I pointed out that if you pulled building number 7, that no plane hit.
Right.
Is you had to have explosives planted in it before 9/11. Right. And if you had an explosive planted in that, what are the odds that you had explosive planted in the other 2?
That's right. No, it's amazing.
And it was in, I believe it was April, that the New York Times broke the story that George Bush was going to allow the NSA to tap our cell phones. But the NSA didn't tap anybody's cell phones. They farmed it out to 2 companies, Amdocs and Converse.
And they're doing it.
Based in Israel.
Oh.
And they tapped, I must have been one of the first that they tapped. Because I called home. I was in Phoenix, Arizona, and I was publishing not only the Free American, but I was publishing Arizona Thunder Riders magazine, a motorcycle magazine.
Right. They tried to take you out.
Yes, they did. I called home and asked my son on my AT&T cell phone that I'd had for many years. Where do you need me to go next, son? Where are you, Dad? Well, I'm on the north side of Phoenix, Sacred Skin Tattoo Parlor. Oh, go down 24th Street to McDowell, turn left, go to the wheel shop. It's right there. Okay. And 2 blocks before I got to McDowell, a woman in a borrowed car with no insurance, drug charges pending, T-boned me and hit me hard enough on my Road King motorcycle anniversary edition.
And
to roll it over me a couple of times and hit my head on the other side of the street on the curb.
Man.
And they rushed me to the hospital, and they said I was so badly injured that they didn't think I was going to make it. Got me to the hospital and kept me drugged for 3 months. Halcyon, Haldol, Valium on top of the morphine.
Yeah.
For 3 broken ribs, Bill.
Oh, my God.
And my sons finally told them to take me off the drugs. And when they did, seems I only had 3 broken ribs, a bump on the head, I guess. Maybe I had a concussion. But then I had guys in blue pinstripe suits show up. Hi, Clay. How you doing? You been hallucinating, Clay? And I had been, but I hadn't told anybody.
So there's, in other words, coming around making even more threats.
Yeah, they... I said, yeah, a little bit. Why? Who are you? Well, we're CIA. Yeah, what are you doing in this country, and what are you doing screwing with me? Well, we don't like you publishing that motorcycle magazine. Well, the motorcycle magazine, that's just a motorcycle magazine. Free Americans want to expose you spook types in. Why would you care about a motorcycle magazine? Well, you paint a rosy picture riding a motorcycle, and you got a big audience, and we don't like that. And the translation is, my sons kept the motorcycle magazine running, so I still had a source of income. That's what they didn't like.
Okay.
And I ran them. I said, does the term tough shit mean anything to you? Get out of my hospital. And frankly, boys, wait a minute. Let me, thanks for the high, but frankly, it wasn't nearly as good as that acid you brought in the 60s. Now get out of my hospital.
Well, when did this exactly take place? In the 70s?
No, that was this whole thing with the hospital, and that was in May of 2004.
Oh, okay. All right.
The acid that was back in the 60s.
Well, everybody was doing acid back in the 60s, right?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a competition between Osley and,
but
CIA.
Yeah. So, tell me a bit. You weren't doing the radio show at that time back in those days, were you?
No, I wasn't. I didn't start that until it's been about 25 years ago. After what happened at Waco, I was so outraged at what happened at Waco.
Right.
I did 3 things. I started the Free American magazine. I started a radio show, and according to the ADL and Southern Poverty Law, I started the militias with the magazine and with the radio show. And they just don't tell you that they try to make it sound like it was some kind of terrorist operation. They don't tell you I did it in the governor's office.
Well, they're going to attack and anything that's not mainstream is going to come under attack. And especially if you're, talking the way you do on the radio show, they don't like that. So they're going to want to shut that down. But
it's kind of interesting what they did to me. There doing the same thing today
To everybody.
against Donald Trump.
Oh, well, yeah. I see that. Okay. Right.
And let me put in my one little plug.
Okay.
If you want to save, I worked with a presidential candidate back about 96.
Uh-huh.
Charles Collins wanted to eliminate the Federal Reserve. He ran for president. And every time he went, he was a Republican. And every time he got up to speak at a Republican convention, every cameraman on stage, ABC, CBS, CNN, turn the cameras off.
Right.
And take a smoke break. So nobody knew Charles Collins wanted to eliminate the Federal Reserve and reinstitute United States notes the way Kennedy did with Executive Order 11110. I still carry one of those $5 bills in my wallet.
Uh-huh. Wow.
And they couldn't quite do the same thing with Trump, because he just got a little bit more power. And but they're pulling the same kind of crap. Oh, well, yeah, he talked about feeling up women. Oh, he's a
yes, sexual.
He's that, and he's a racist.
Right.
And that's what they anti-Semite. I mean, they haven't quite.
You think
got him on the anti-Semite thing?
Right. They've called him everything in the book. Everything in the book.
Well, they're scared. They're scared of him because he really would, I think,
try and change things. Yeah.
Could be wrong, but I think he's got enough money they can't buy him off.
Right.
And he's saying the right things. He wants to close the borders. He wants to build a wall. He wants to kick the Muslims out.
Yeah,
they're sending the Muslims in.
Yeah,
they tried to turn the blacks against us.
Right.
That didn't work. Then they tried to run all the Mexicans in, and the Mexicans are pretty much being assimilated, so they're not the threat that they wanted them to be.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But when he wants to build a wall, that's scaring them to death.
Yeah. Right. Well, Trump scares them all to death. I mean, he's a representative of a movement. However, he's got the momentum of all these thousands and tens of thousands and thousands of people that show up at his rallies. He's got a populist movement going on here. Don't you think? It's not just...
Oh, absolutely. He's saying all the right things, and he's got the power of the people, and that scares them to death. And they're trying to pawn Clinton off on us, and they tried to do that too. I mean, I was back. I renewed my book, Mystery Babylon: The New World Order Unveiled. Mm-hmm. I told the whole story about George Bush's drug smuggling operation. That was called Operation Watchtower. He initiated that back when he was CIA director.
Yeah.
Before he became vice president.
Mm-hmm.
And tried to promote himself to president by having one of his friend's son shoot Reagan. But
yeah.
And he was also there on the steps of the school book depository when they killed Kennedy too.
Mm-hmm.
So he had his finger in that. But I talked with one of the people that was on that Operation Watchtower, and that was Colonel Edward P. Catolo, was the commander of the Special Forces unit that Bush sent down to Columbia to build the radio towers to guide the planes from Columbia into Bush's employee, Manuel Noriega, Albrook Air Force Base. And
Right.
They sent 100 planes. The cargo was cocaine into Albrook Air Force Base. And then another guy I just happened to meet, a guy named Barry Seal, flew the drugs up to Bush's other employee, guy you might know by the name of Bill Clinton, up there to Arkansas.
Right.
When Clinton ran against Bush, I sent him copies of the Cotolo document. And Bill Tyree, who worked for, was a corporal under Cotolo, they killed his wife and sent him to Walpole Prison, and I got a hold of him, had him on my show, and I told him, Bill, I sent copies of Cotolo's document on Watchtower to Bill Clinton. He started laughing at me. He's not going to say anything, Clay. He worked for Bush. You'll hear a lot this year about a little place called Mena, Arkansas, where Clinton was there to keep the state boys off of Mena, Arkansas.
Right. So let's come up to date here and look at the Hillary and her people today. You think that she's just as filthy and dirty as they've ever been, or is this
absolutely? And Hillary was responsible for Vince Foster's murder,
right?
You know? And she certainly approved all of. They're trying to paint Trump with as a womanizer because of this one little comment he made.
Right.
And
but she's talking about Trump the man, and you can attack the man, you can say he did this, he did that, he said this, he said that, but Trump the movement is not going to be affected by what she's coming out with, by what she says. Am I right or what?
If you voted for Hillary, as far as I'm concerned, if you vote for Hillary, then you're as much a traitor to this country as Hillary,
right?
And Bill Clinton.
Well, the people that are voting for him are the mindless sheep. They're the media heads, the people that are plugged into media all day long. That aren't paying attention to. They don't know what they're voting for. Most of them. They
not a clue.
Not a clue. None of them. And they're going in there to vote because A, she's a woman, or B, that they've been programmed into this, and they believe all the crap that's come out about Trump. All the anti-Trump stuff. Why do you hate Trump? Well, he's a racist. And they're still repeating the same cliche, he's a racist. He's against immigration. He wants to start a war. Who wants to start the war?
Hillary is trying to get this whole war started with Russia.
Right, exactly.
And I've tried to tell people, first of all, the whole Cold War was a farce.
Mm-hmm.
A Jewish farce, because the only thing that happened is the Jews got to sell more atomic weapons.
Right. The game you play where you pull on the rope? You pull it one way, you pull it the other way, you pull it the other way, you pull it, until you pull the other guys down.
Right.
That sums up the Cold War.
The Russian people have never been our enemy. The Russian Tsar that the Jews murdered was our ally, was our friend.
Uh-huh.
And Putin is more of a Christian, more of a leader, and more of our friend than our own president.
Okay, yes.
And we got a goddamn gay president right now.
God.
Married to a transvestite. And oh my God, this is. Do we dislike Obama because he's gay and
he's a gay Muslim? That's right.
Because he's a Muslim. You know, Thomas Jefferson, when this country was established, Thomas Jefferson fought Barbary pirates, and we're still fighting them today. And this whole, if you really get to go back and start looking, man, this whole Jewish, Christian, Muslim situation is a plan for world government trying to pit us, these three religions, against each other. And if you go back and listen to my shows, and all of my shows are archived, you can get them up on Blog Talk Radio. You can archive them on freeamerican.com. Just click on my name on the day of the show, and I've been talking about archons. Do you know who the archons were, or what the archons situation was? We're talking about prehistory here.
Oh yeah.
And the archons kind of used the Jews and Abraham back in the Bible to pretty much take over the planet and set up the religions. And they set up the Muslims, and they set up the Jews, and they set up the Christians. So we'd have somebody to fight and play against each other, kind of like the Republicans and Democrats.
That's right.
And I've been telling people, man, listen, you know, if you call yourself a Judeo-Christian, you might as well say I'm a satanic Christian. And the Muslims the same way. It doesn't mean that you just really can't understand this until you start really researching. I suggest that people go listen to my shows for the last month or so.
I just cannot believe that Christianity can coexist alongside of Islam. They're totally incompatible. One is just the opposite of the other. And I just can't see. This is a weapon that they're using against us, you know.
Well, even Jesus warned you about the Jews who say they're Jews but are not, are of the synagogue of Satan.
And these people are Satanists. I mean, downright, out and out Satanists. You got stuff going on in the Vatican that would just blow your mind, you know. So it's incredible what's going on out there.
Yes, it is. It is.
So
and, these
what's it?
Somebody said if you're really worried about these child molesters, I think they were talking about Waco or something at the time. Why haven't they raided the Catholic Church? We've really got to break out of this. So these all of these religions, all three of them, are designed to keep us fighting and to hide who's really behind this, you know. And you really, if you really want to identify who the bad guys are, it's the bankers. It's the
I'm just going to say that. I was just
the people that are issuing your money.
Right.
And charging you for, well, you got to pay your interest. Right. Where's our national debt? Where's that? Who do we owe that money to?
Let me ask you this question. If it doesn't matter whether Hillary gets in there, it doesn't matter whether Trump gets in there, what they got planned for the, after the election is a total economic collapse. I mean, they're just keeping it propped up to get us through the election, but then they're going to hit us with another 2008, if not worse, right? Am I right or what?
Probably. They want to keep us in a turmoil.
Right, exactly. Well, if Hillary gets in there and imports, I don't know how many thousands and thousands of these people into this country, Any moron would look at that and say, "Well, no, wait a minute, what are you doing? You know, what is this?" And that's also to break down our society and to allow them to come in here then with the police state, the track and trace, total surveillance, cop military on the street thing. You know what I'm saying?
About 15 years ago, maybe 20, I sat down and I said, now, how do we fight this? I mean, how do we fight this New World Order? And I came up with what I call my Liberty Village concept.
Mm-hmm.
I said, if we can grow our own food and generate our own power, our own energy,
right,
with the wind or the sun or the solar, we don't need the government. We don't need the...
Right.
We don't need anything else. We grow our own food.
Right.
And we put those windmills back up and we put the solar back up.
Well, that's the first thing that they're going to do is they're going to come out there and they're going to deprive people of their solar and their provisions and their weapons and they're going to go out there and disarm the people and start rounding people up. And when they come knocking on the door of your village there, you and your people are going to have to defend yourselves, right? Yes?
Well, that's my plan for Liberty Village called for stocking the villages and bringing in all the veterans into the villages, providing them low-cost housing and having them there to mend fences, milk the goats.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Herd the cattle in there and defend the villages.
Right. So you would have to do that then. Whether it be, police, whether it be U.S. forces, or whether it would be foreign forces that would come in there and, they're seeing train loads of armored vehicles, train loads of military tanks, being transported across the country. They're getting ready for this.
Well, they certainly are. They, a friend of mine used to be pretty popular in the Patriot movement back when we were doing the Preparedness Expos.
Mm-hmm.
Carl Klang,
Mm-hmm.
Christian identity, but like you said, those bright blue helmets make good targets.
Well, do you see it deteriorating in this country to that extent? I mean, this election is a big election, but it's going to be a while before policies take effect, before Trump gets in there. He said he was going to do his first 100 days. He was going to do this, that, and that, and then the other thing, But are we capable of taking our country back politically at this point in time, or what?
If we get Trump in there, if they don't rig the elections, if the diabolical machines don't rig the elections,
right,
bring the Democrats back in, we've got a better chance than we've had over the last 20 years.
Right.
Better
chance.
I
agree with you on that, yes.
But, maybe, has there ever been a time in history when it's been easy to be free?
Oh, no. Who was it that said the cost of freedom is constant vigilance or something like that?
Constant vigilance, yes, sir.
So, yeah, and I think we're in a very historic time that we're sitting here, we're watching all this going down. You and me, we get out there, we report on it, and we try to disseminate information, and bring people into the fold and all that, wake people up, in other words. But do you think there are enough people that are, politically conscious?
Well, I went to Denny's for breakfast this morning.
Uh-huh.
And there were 3 people sitting around me at a table, just some older folks and a veteran sitting at one table and some older folks sitting at another table and a younger guy with some kids. And all 3 of them were for Trump.
Uh-huh. Okay. All right.
All 3 tables. And it's I thank you for helping to bring this country back, to restore this country. Thank you. Thank you. Here's my card. Listen to my radio show. Thank you. I had 500 cards printed up just so I could start reaching out to people again.
Right.
And I think we've got, 10 years ago, I had people will go, oh, you're militia. Well, So it is getting better, and you can thank Trump for that. I mean, he got it on the mainstream, but people couldn't ignore him. He started reaching out.
Right.
And look at the crowds, man. I never saw.
Well, the thing about Trump is that he knows what's going on. He is awake to what's happening. He knows what's going on. He knows who's responsible, and that's a big plus for us. And that's why this movement is going so fast and so powerful, is because he's talking what the people are feeling, what the people are thinking, what's in the people's hearts. See,
That's right. And he's got children that are young, good looking, and bright, and they're supporting him. They're working with him, and it's so he's able to reach some of the younger people with them.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. I think,
and it's I'm frankly I'm encouraged. I think people are waking up.
Right. Well, that's the important thing, is getting people waking up. Now, if we get him in office, then the sky's the limit. I mean, he'll go after Hillary, he'll go after Soros, he'll go after the people that need to be gone after.
I think he will hook up and shake hands and work with
Putin. Yeah.
And that we're not talking about just the United States. This is a worldwide movement.
Well, what would be the purpose of starting World War III with Putin and the Russians over there? What is the?
We'd the Jews would get to sell more atomic weapons. They'd get they always fund both sides of every conflict.
Right.
And
this is a lot to do with data too.
What we're seeing here, and nobody talks about this, there is a genocide of the white race.
Christian.
Not just Christians,
yeah.
White race.
Oh yes, because when I see that they're bringing over tens of thousands of Muslims into this country, that there's no way to vet these people. They're coming from a war zone. They don't, there's no paper trails. There's no way to say that whether this person is safe or not, to allow to come in here, right? But it's 98 point something % of these people that they're bringing in are Muslim, and only 1 point something Christians. And the Christians are over there. They're getting their heads cut off. The priests are getting murdered. They're tearing up the churches. They're looting. They're killing women. They're setting them on fire. Christians are getting killed left and right, and yet they're importing into this country as refugees 1.5% Christian, right? Now, there's something wrong with that, don't you think, or what?
I think so. I think this whole
But you're saying it's a whole racial thing now. It's Whitey's fault. Everything is Whitey's fault, and it's okay to be openly racist against Whitey now, isn't it?
yes, it is.
So if you open your mouth and you say something like that right away, you're a racist.
Look at this Black Lives Matter shit. I mean, they stirred it up again. They've tried to do that 2 or 3 times after the Civil War and all that. They tried to stir the blacks up against us. They're still trying to do that.
Uh-huh. You know, but a lot of black people are voting for Trump.
Yes, they are.
That's right. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. You know, do you think this could be a landslide for Trump or what?
I think it's going to be. I think and people are starting to, when they I've already voted, and I voted on a paper ballot.
Uh-huh.
People are checking their ballots.
Right.
And they're already caught in Texas here. They've caught them trying to shift the ballot, so people are awake.
Oh, yeah. And people are going to be watching this here election, too. So if they try to pull something, you know, unless they're good at it, and they're good at it, you got to hand it to them. They're good at rigging elections. So people are going to be watching, you know. But
And Morris, I mean, I'm just sitting there while I'm talking to you here. I'm sitting here, and the story: Pulitzer Prize winning journalist Hillary approved sending sarin gas to rebels.
Oh yeah,
to frame Assad to start the Syrian war.
And
Hillary and the FBI are shameless liars.
Well, you know, they came out with they were going to reinvestigate her now today. They came out and they said she's not done yet. We're not done with her yet. So she might get indicted. She could get sworn in and then get in the car and take her to prison. She can govern the country from the Oval Office inside a Sing Sing, right?
That's right. Here's another one. Keith Ingram's connections to Little Rock and the Rose Law Firm and Clinton's. Texas Secretary of State's election director, Keith Ingram, his ties to Arkansas and the Clintons.
Right. It's amazing. They've got a regular criminal dynasty going on there, you know? And it's just chilling to think that there's a good chance that she might get in there, you know? But it's going to take, you know... I look at the rallies. I look at Trump wherever he speaks, and I see that he's got the place jam-packed full of people, you know? And just as many people outside that couldn't get in the door because they couldn't fit them in there, right?
Right.
And then you go to the Hillary rally, and there's nobody there, you know? So I just can't believe these polls, all these polls. You know, the mainstream media is totally biased in this, and they're falsifying these polls, and they're putting out this information to make it look like she's winning, you know, so that more of the sheep will go out there and vote for her, thinking that, well, I'll vote for her, she's going to win, you know. So... am I right or what? I mean...
Oh, yeah. Well, the media, when I saw how the media reported on Waco, the murder of the 17 little children and their families, and when I saw how the media tried to spin it so it looked like the BATF had done a good thing, that's why I started the Free American and this radio show.
Right. Because we didn't have the internet back then, did we?
No, they didn't.
So there was no internet. So
yeah, I started by putting the Free American on paper and putting it in every gun store and newsstand.
And people started reading it. You started building up a client, not a clientele, but a readership.
Readership, yes, sir.
And then the next thing you know, the government's looking to take you out, right?
That's right. Well, the ADL put out a little fundraiser. They turned me into their own fundraiser. Oh, Clay Doctor, start the militia. I called them up in New York. They put me out. They put this little brochure out called "Armed and Dangerous." I called them up. I said, you assholes finally got something right. I am armed, and if you mess with my country or my family, I'm definitely dangerous.
There you go. There you have it. So what we're looking at then is either one of two things in the immediate future. And one of them is that we get Trump in there and we start having this period of American renaissance. You know what I'm saying? We go back to the Constitution. We go back to the Bill of Rights, and we start straightening this mess out. Or we get World War III. We get higher taxes. We get prices going through the roof. We got criminals in the White House that are taking money from all our foreign enemies, right? And giving them all our secrets and all of our technology and everything. We're finished. We're done for. So it's one way or the other. See? But I don't know if the American people, I hope they make the right decision. I hope the American people don't let themselves down. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it could go either way. They're either where you're really in for a battle for your life here, for your children's life, for your parents, for yours. We're in a battle for our lives here, for our freedom. And it's been that way for 20 years or more.
Well, since the turning of
what happened to Germany? I mean, I've studied what happened to Germany. They lied about Hitler. They lied about the German people, and it was the Jews that declared war on Germany at the First World War. They put it in a full page ad in the New York Times. You're declaring war on the German people, not Hitler, not just Hitler, the German people. Well, they're doing the same thing to the American people now.
Well, they're wanting to disassemble everything. They're taking everything apart piece by piece. And they think you're not looking and you're not paying attention. They're doing this all behind your back. They're taking everything apart piece by piece by piece, and then next thing you know, you had a Cadillac sitting out in the driveway. Next thing you know, there's nothing sitting out in the driveway because they've taken it away piece by piece by piece by piece. You know what I'm saying? So
that's right.
This is what we gotta. This is where we stand. This is what we got. What we're being faced with in this election. I just hope that the American people don't screw themselves, And if they do, well, then our job is not done. All right? We're going to have to, redouble all our efforts. All all the people that were Trump people are going to have to just reorganize,
Well, think about it before Trump. I mean, look at what we got. We had Clinton and we had Bush. We had Democrats and Republicans. I always told people, over the last 25 years, I've told people there's only one party out there. There's and Republicans and Democrats. That's two wings of the same bird.
Oh yeah,
and that bird's a vulture, man. It ain't no eagle out there.
Oh yeah. What was the first thing that turned you on to all this stuff? I mean, there was a point in time where I didn't know any of this stuff, and I was quite ignorantly blissful, you know, because I didn't know nothing, you know. When was it that you woke up and started looking around and saying, "What the hell is this?"
It was Waco. It was Waco when they murdered 17 little children to save them from a child molester.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know that did it for me. I mean, no way. And then the press tried to tell you
A whole different story.
you haven't. Nobody charged this guy. Nobody arrested this guy. Nobody picked him up. He never went before the courts.
Could have picked him.
And you went in and killed the children and their families.
Right. They could have picked him up at any time.
Any time. And I saw films. I saw films from inside Waco that showed the children sitting around with their parents and 50 caliber bullet holes in the ceilings.
Yeah, right. And this is a foreshadow of what is coming if the the Republicans lose and the Democrats get in there. Right.
And there's there are some good news. We get just bits and drabs right now. Just for instance, they murdered Lavoie up in Oregon, and you know, we had the militia stand up against the Forest Service of there in Nevada. And then they tried to they tried to do the same thing in Oregon, and the militia and the Bundys got charged, and they went to court. They got found innocent. The jury found them innocent, so we had a major victory there.
There you go.
That was just a few days ago.
There you go. Well, there's a lot of tension going on out west out there, you know, between the landowners, the ranchers, and the Agenda 21, right? And then you've got the pipeline up there. All the Indian tribes are jumping up and down out there because of the pipeline. I don't know. A national emergency could be declared in any one of those areas, and martial law brought in, and the military and the whole 9 yards. So because I'm looking at this country and I'm saying to myself, collapse. It is collapsing, right? And once that happens, look out, because all hell breaks loose all over the place. So, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Is it me or what? I don't know.
Well, it's an ongoing battle. It's like I said, it's never been easy to be free. But the more we fight, the more vocal we are.
Right.
You're not alone, folks. You're not alone out there.
Right.
I mean, it's one of the things, Bill, that I have to kind of remind myself of. You know, I've been doing this a long time.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And my nickname through all the motorcycle clubs has always been the loner.
Uh-huh.
You know, I'd go to a meeting.
Paladin, right? Huh?
It was my nickname was the loner. I'd say, where are we going today? What bar are we going to?
Uh-huh. Okay.
Okay, I'll see you there. I'll have the beer on the bar when you get there. You know, so. And it's rough sometimes, you know. Sometimes I do feel alone.
Right.
But
you're not, because you're part of a movement. I mean, you're part of this whole movement, right? You're part of it. You're actively participating, right? Which is, most people don't.
Well, when the Bundys, when the BLM went down there to Nevada there, and the militia showed up, they backed them down. I felt really, really proud of the people.
Right.
Showed up there.
Stand up to them. Right.
Neighbors and the militia showed up, and they backed the BLM down.
There you go.
And now the militia backed them down in Oregon at the Malheur retreat up there. They backed them down. They went to jail. They tried to put them in jail, but they won. They walked away. The people found them not guilty. So we won again. We're not. We're right.
We just started
here. We're not bad guys.
Right.
We are the people. We the people.
We the people. Exactly. Right. And we're starting to stand up all over the place, all over the country.
And this morning, I went to breakfast with my lady here. We went to breakfast at Denny's.
Yeah.
And I gave my card out to all the people at the tables around me.
Yeah.
And two of the people were wearing Trump stickers. And one of them was a veteran that came over. I've heard of you, shook my hand. And I don't know. I feel like we've really come a long ways.
Right. Makes you feel good, doesn't it? Makes you feel good.
Yes.
Oh, hey, look, we're out of time. We're finished. We're done here. Hey,
all right.
Thanks for coming on the program.
Anytime.
God bless you.
FreeAmerican.com, man, is the website. My phone numbers are up there. My email's up there. All of my shows are up there. God bless you all. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it.
Here now. We'll see you all next week.
Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio.